Microphone check 1 2 1 2. This is your host, not some baby, and this is another episode of Swingers After Dark. I was looking up and down my fake book news feed, and I've seen people go live. Going live and throwing house parties. Regardless of the coronavirus epidemic, people were still throwing fuck parties. They were still throwing swing parties. They were still throwing LS parties. It was like I've seen a live where you had more than 10 people in a joint. Real talk. And you know what they say, don't have more than 10 people around. Keep that shit short. Keep your circle short when it comes to social distancing. But it's like people don't give a fuck. It's like they still want to get it in. It's like they still want to get their nut. And I get it. Human interaction is therapeutic. You understand me? You want to be able to talk to people, socialize and interact with people. But sometimes you want to cut that shit short. And before I started recording this episode of the podcast, I went on my news feed and I saw something that alarmed me. Like, I'm not in fear, but it made me pause and reflect. Like, I've seen rest in peace posts about friends of a friend. Like, 2 rest in peace posts in a short span, like in a 2-minute span. They were friends of a friend, and they weren't in my social network, but it was more so on the 6 degrees of separation that would make me want to think, yo, this shit is real. Like, this shit is really real. This is not a hoax. This is not a game. This is not a conspiracy. This shit is real. And I always say, something hit different when it hits home. Like, the coronavirus is different when it hits home. Like, it's easy to be a rebel without a cause until it hits something close to you, somebody close to you rather. When it hits somebody close to you, then you want to reflect on some that could have been me type shit. And I thought about taking a train to upstate New York. I thought about taking a bus and then taking a train. But sometimes, I'm a firm believer that life speaks to you. Life speaks to you in symbols. Life has a funny way of communicating with you. And, I wasn't necessarily thinking that I was invincible in regards to not being infected by the coronavirus, even though it's been around in America since November, December. That's why they called it the COVID-19, because it's been in the States since late 2019. But, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to save some money. I'm going to take the train. I'm going to take 2 trains to wherever I need to go. 3 trains, rather, to wherever I need to go. And then I was like, nah, I'm taking the fucking Uber. Like, even if it costs me $50 or whatever the case may be, even if it costs me more money than taking public transportation, I got to be smart. $50, that's nothing compared to my health. Because $50 could easily turn into me pushing up daisies. So it's not necessarily me living in fear. It's being smart. You understand me? It's about being smart and being intelligent. Because living in fear, that could break down your immune system just as worse as a fucking virus. So it's all about, putting things in proper perspective. Yes, you want to turn up. Yes, you want to have fun. Yes, you don't want to live in fear. And yes, you don't want to be a prisoner of an international pandemic, not a national pandemic, an international pandemic. But at the same time, sometimes a pandemic is a blessing in disguise. Sometimes a lockdown is a blessing in disguise, even when you're not on lockdown. Because I'm in New York City and we're not on lockdown. It's like a diet lockdown. Like, people can still walk outside, but it's pretty much you going outside to get essentials. It's like basic needs that you need to survive in your household. It's not to go outside and turn up and have a big old party like it's another regular day. You understand me? Like, if you're an essential worker, it's for you. Like, first of all, I want to say enough respect to the essential workers, people in the medical field, law enforcement, people who are making sure that the country is still running. Like, enough respect to y'all, because you're on the front lines. And me personally, it's like I'm an essential worker, but I got the luxury to work from home. I'm working from home. So, I keep in touch with, my people in law enforcement and in the medical field to see if they're good, to see if they're okay. You understand me? Because some people are not fortunate to stay at home and handle their business. People got to be on the front lines in the jungle. So, this coronavirus is no hoe. It's no joke. And a lot of people want to talk that shit like, fuck the Rona, this, that, and the third. Yo, I was one of them people. I was one of them people who say, yo, fuck the Rona. I'ma still do my thing. Like in March, I went to a lifestyle party at a hotel to conduct interviews for the podcast, for season 2 of the podcast. And I had put up a post. I was like, yo, fuck the Rona. I'm going to go out and bang out these interviews for the podcast, for season 2 of the podcast. And, it wasn't that serious then. Even though the coronavirus was around in the United States, like in late 2019, it really didn't spread because you didn't have as many carriers that you have now. Like a lot of people are infecting other people without even knowing it, whether it's accidental or they being selfish about it. They have nowhere to go. They just want to be outside. So it's real. At this point, it's not a hoax. I've seen people pass away. They're not necessarily, my friends, but it's close to home enough to make me pause and think on how I should move. You understand me? But yes, I'ma still go outside to get essentials, but I'ma move like a fucking bank robber in and out. You feel me? I'm not posted up on a block. I'm not posting up. I'm not, hanging out, chilling. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not posting up just to be a fucking victim. You understand me? Because, it's kind of like you're fighting an invincible, not only an invisible, but also an invincible. Because, our bodies, they haven't seen us before. They haven't seen this virus before. I'm going to touch on that in a later episode. I'm not going to get scientific on people. I just want to touch on certain things about how serious this coronavirus is. But, family, it's all about moving intelligently. You know what I'm saying? It's not about living in fear, because I would never practice telling people to live in fear. Just move smart. You understand me? Because we don't know how long this shit will last. And not for nothing, if people stay in the fucking house, we wouldn't have to worry about the government issuing martial law because, people don't want to go outside, or people want to go outside and they're spreading the virus because it's airborne. And, if people keep, throwing parties, throwing card parties, throwing fuck parties, throwing sex parties, having basement parties. Like I've seen news reports that, the police had to raid parties. Like the host of the party had a whole DJ. Real talk. Had a fucking DJ. Like the whole 9 yards in the middle of a pandemic. The police, listen, you lack like common sense. You're missing some screws. You're missing a few sandwiches at the picnic when the police have to raid your party in the middle of a pandemic that has nothing to do with a noise ordinance or you disturbing somebody's peace. You understand me? That tells me that you have no survival skills at all. You understand me? So, I was on my fuck the Rona shit. I admit that. But that was in March. That was before when I knew how shit was real. And, I had to fall back. And, it's not that serious. Like getting a nut is not that serious. Like if you have to throw a fuck party or a sex party or a swing party or a lifestyle party in the middle of a pandemic, an international pandemic, that tells me that you have no fucking life. Real talk. It's like the lifeline of your social life is the lifestyle. It's the swing lifestyle to the point where you want to put yourself at risk to throw a party. And I know what you're saying. Well, we gonna die someday. I can't live in fear. I can't worry about catching the coronavirus. And how you gonna talk when there are people fucking raw and you fuck raw as well? Listen, apples and oranges, motherfucker. If I fuck a chick raw and I catch something, or whatever the case may be, I'm holding myself accountable because I knew what I signed up for. So I will have to eat that. If I catch an STD or an STI, I'm going to have to eat that. No pun intended. But because the coronavirus is airborne, it's like I don't know when I'm gonna get it. You feel me? It's like I don't know who I'm gonna get it. It's like I could just walk outside, knock on wood. Nah, I'm not even gonna say that. Let me back up. Anybody could go outside and catch the shit. It's kind of like meningitis and tuberculosis. You feel me? Like you don't. It's like it has no form. It has no shape. It has no size. And the coronavirus is laying down anybody. I don't give a fuck if you physically fit, muscle bound, you eat right, you live right, you eat to live, not live to eat, you're young, old, middle age, whatever the case may be. Male, female, transgender, straight, homosexual, whatever the case may be, man. It has no prejudice. It's getting everybody, taking no prisoners. You understand me? So, family, this could be a blessing in disguise. This could really be a blessing in disguise. What they say, out of ashes rise the phoenix. So instead of looking at it, like, damn, I can't do what I want to do. Sometimes you got to turn shit to sugar, like how Jesus turned water to wine. And you have to make the situation the best that you can instead of complaining and coping about it, because your mentality and how you think could also lower your immune system. It could also fuck up how your body reacts, because when you think on a negative level, your body is going to respond to how you think. You understand me? So if you're thinking with negative vibrations, it's only for so long that your body is going to respond and communicate with your negativity. So regardless of me seeing, rest in peace posts about people who were close to my associates passing away, it's like I still got to think positive. I still got to think on a positive wavelength, because I'm gonna make it. You feel me? I don't know about you, but I'm gonna make it. You understand me? I'm gonna make it. And that's why I'm banging out these podcast episodes, and I'm writing, finishing up on my 8th book. I love to self-quarantine. Like, you don't have to put me down on martial law to self-quarantine, because I'm an introvert and I don't fuck with a lot of people anyway. So this is right up my alley. So I know how to stay home and be sane. You understand me? So, family, the turn up is already going to be there. Like going to sex parties, fuck parties, lifestyle parties, swing parties, car parties, basement parties. It's going to be there, fam. It's like, have some patience, have some discipline. It's going to be there. When this shit dies down, you can go back to the regularly scheduled program. But, don't put yourself and others in risk just because you want to get that nut. You know what I'm saying? Trying to bust a nut is not worth your fucking life, especially when you can control how you contract an infection. You understand me? And on that note, this has been another episode of Swingers After Dark, and this is your host, Nasun, baby. Check out my website at www.nasunblaze.com. That's www.nahsunblaze.com. And check out my ebook, You, Me, Us, Them, The Swinger Manifesto. It's on Nook, Kindle, iBooks, Google Play. Go get it. Shoot me an email at swingpodcast@gmail.com. That's swingpodcast@gmail.com. And hit me up with any questions or concerns that you may have. Rate, share, subscribe, and comment on this podcast. Dig. And on that note, until next time, peace. And stay your ass home.